Welcome. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Count Frightculous, and I will be your guide into the chilling, spooky scariness of the world, and maybe even perhaps the universe. But for now, our journey is taking us down the path of the books that contain scary stories from long ago. And with that, we will explore these books and see what is it that makes them scary. What is it that maybe is something we might be able to learn from all of that scariness? If we may, let me correct myself again. If we might, without too much fright. There we go. I like that better. All right, anyway. And at the end, you want to make sure you stay to the end of the review, because at the very end of this video, we will have the Demon Baby give us a official rating. And what is that? What's going on? That's a bit, wow, that's very quick. I didn't even explain all that, and we have a knock at the door already. Okay, well, let's see who it is. All right, go ahead. Of course, it's the Grim Picker. A bit earlier than usual. I didn't finish my statement and he was here, but nevertheless, it's always a pleasure to see the Grim Picker to show up, because he will bring us the scary stories for us to review. And I must warn you, he can be early, he can be late, but either way, the Grim Picker will show up, and when he does, he will make a decision. And that is the warning. Never deny the choice of the Grim Picker. Once the decision is made, it must not be undone. So, with that, oh yes, let me finish real quick with the Demon Baby will give us 1 head spin for kind of scary, all the way up to 5 head spins for very scary. And so now with that, no further delays, since we seem to be rushing through, and now let's give the review for the scary stories. And so now we have come to the time to review this scary book, the book that the Grim Picker has picked for us. I want to make it known that this was a book picked by the Grim Picker, because, interesting enough, it is titled Thunder Bunny. Now, I don't know what would be scary about a bunny, but he's called Thunder Bunny. So, you know, there is a very powerful masculine word in front of that more helpless, more soft kind of weakling word of bunny. Thunder Bunny. I'm not so sure what is frightening about that, or scary, but you know, this is the book that the Grim Picker chose for us, and as I always warn, we must not deny the choice of the Grim Picker, because once the decision is made, it must not be undone. So, this is the scary story book we're going to review now. We might be really trying to reach here, but we're going to try to figure out, why would the Grim Picker pick such a book? Is there something scary in here that maybe we're just not aware? But looking at the cover, it's more like a parody of Batman. But it's a big hulking rabbit with a very sort of bunny-looking face. Not even a menacing, well, sort of menacing face, but thunder is more of a action, it's more of a strong word. It can be kind of scary, thunder. But then you have bunny, bunny, right? So bunny is more soft, it's gentle. So it's strong and soft. So maybe that's what it is. It's thunder, bunny. So it makes you kind of, you think, and then it's a very mixed emotion going on. So kind of, you don't know how to think, and that frightens you because it's the unknown. So here on this it says, the deadly return of Dr. Fogg. Okay, well, Dr. Fogg, that could be a monster. Maybe the scary monster inside is really what we have to see. Let's go and check it out. Thunder Bunny. Okay, Thunder Bunny. Here we go. Well, right away we see that it's in black and white, and that is kind of scary. It was published a long time ago. I'm assuming back in the 1980s. So, and it was a self-published book. This wasn't from any mainstream publisher, I think. Well, back then, they would do it as cheap as they could because they were funding it themselves usually. They didn't have crowdfunding like they do nowadays. So they had to figure out a way to print these books. So they would try to cut the corners, do it in a cheaper way. But anyway, Thunder Bunny, though, I have to say, it's an original name. I'm going to give it that. But we look, and what the story is, it's about a kid. He's I believe in junior high or high school, and he gets this magic power that turns him into a giant hawking rabbit. But this came from outer space, like a meteor crashed into Earth, and he saw it in the hills, I believe, of West Virginia or somewhere like that. And he goes out, and he's the only one that saw this apparently, and he finds this box, and he opens it, and he ends up becoming Thunder Bunny. And so he has to, when he becomes Thunder Bunny, I think by clapping his hands or something like that, but he has to really focus and concentrate to turn back into a boy. But the longer he stays the Thunder Bunny, apparently the harder it is for him to turn back, all right? So that's kind of scary because the boy does get very scared. He thinks, what happens if I get stuck as this silly looking rabbit? Well, you're a big giant superhero. I mean, you're basically almost indestructible, so there's worse things that could happen to you, right? This is not the origin of Thunder Bunny. This is just a story within his series of things happening. So again, let's see what it is. The title of this one is called Thunder Bunny in Snaka or Snaka. I think it's Snaka or Snaka. Snaka, that's it. Maybe it's Snaka, and you'll see why in a minute. So as we see, his friend has collapsed from heat. And this is the boy who will be Thunder Bunny here, right there. And so, there's a heat wave going on, and he's like, there's a problem. He's like, I can't help, as Bobby, his name is Bobby, by the way, I didn't tell you that, but the Thunder Bunny, the boy who becomes Thunder Bunny, his name is Bobby, okay, so we get that. And he's like, so anyway, there's a heat wave going on. He says, I must help. Of course he turns into the Thunder Bunny, and he's running around trying to figure things out. He sprays some water on his friends because they're having a heat stroke. There's a car overheating, he's trying to help out things, but then he sees this sphere floating around. He's like, what is that? That seems to be the cause of this heat. And so he chases it, and he flies, and he's really fast, but he can't capture it. But then he does finally, he all of a sudden comes upon this spaceship. So he goes into the spaceship. He's like, what is going on here? And he's like, whoa. And then there we have it. Now, that's kind of a scary looking snake creature there. That's kind of scary if we're looking at it in a scary way, right? Right? Okay, we're reaching here. Just work with me, please. I mean, this is a scary story time, and we're talking about Thunder Bunny. I'm almost beginning to think that the Grim Picker is playing a cruel practical joke on the Count Frightculous. But we must not undo the decision of the Grim Picker, so I'm not about to be the first, because I'm the one that's always warning you anyway. But anyway, here we go. I see from your reaction that Dr. Barco instilled no race memory of our former world. So apparently these two guys are from the same planet, and this snake creature wants his powers. He's like, I should have gotten the power to become the Thunder Bunny. So he's like, please give it to me. And he's basically being hypnotized. See the snake eyes. He's like hypnotizing the rabbit. The rabbit says, okay, sure, I'll give you back the power. But then he realizes, wait a minute. And we see he's like, hey, what is this? He trips over. Oh, there's a skeleton of some creature. That's kind of scary, right? There's a dead skeleton laying there. And he's like, oh, it's just a mercenary of Luta, the procurer. He was of no further use to me after I learned from him where you were. He's not important. That's what snaps Thunder Bunny out of the trance. And he says, you lulled me before with those eyes of yours, but nobody deserves a fate like that. Nor do you deserve the power of Thunder Bunny. Or wait, I should rather say Thunder Bunny. So here we go. So anyway, he's using his ship, he's trying to attack, they get into a big fight, he can go through the fight scene. You know, of course, Thunder Bunny defeats the snake, grabs him. He's like, I don't understand. You're different. Thunder Bunny never retreated from action before. He confronted Mintus. You circumvented. You said it yourself, Snake-a. I'm a different rabbit. So anyway, he defeats Snake-a, but Snake-a says, hey, I'm never gonna let you go. I'm gonna haunt you to the end of life. Hey, that's scary, actually. He says, I'm never going to go. Even if you try to get rid of me, I'm still going to come back over and over and over again until I finally get what I want. As we say right here, you are absurd. I shall ever be a threat until I have what it is rightfully mine. When you wake screaming from a nightmare, it will be of me. When a chill passes over you in the night, it will be from me. When you shrink from your greatest fear, it will be me. And there's the snake face. Ooh, that is kind of spooky scary. Yes, all right. Hey, now we're getting some scary in here. So, you know, at least it's not a total loss here. We're not just having a super bunny character, superhero comic. That's a bit that's scary. You know, when you look into the scary again, I know we're reaching, but please let's just get through this together, shall we? I know it's a bit frightening, but let's do this. We can do it. We can do this. Let's go. So, all right. So he defeats Snake-a, and he goes after the orb, and he figures out how to lure the orb and trick the orb into smashing in and, of course, blowing up Snake-a's spaceship. There we go. And then we go to the last page, and there's Bobby back into his human form, and he says, I saved the city today, but did I take a life to do it? Did I destroy the one remaining life from the planet that gave me my powers? He's like, Snake-a was right. There's a lot I don't know about the Big Bunny. What kind of hero was he? What was the planet of Forerunner like? Where does my pinky go when I become Thunder Bunny? Oh boy. Yes, well, it's a fun comic. I mean, if I was just looking for an action comic or something fun, this would be perfect. Thunder Bunny is really good in that sense. But, you know, for a scary story, like saying, hey, we're going to review scary stories. I mean, you come into a place like this with Count Frightculous, and we say, hey, let's review scary stories. And I say, okay, let's go. Let's do it. Here it is, Thunder Bunny. Or I should say, Thunder Bunny. So, or Thunder Bunny. There we go. That's how we're supposed to do it. But here we go. We see, of course, like any superhero, Snake-a doesn't actually die. And he says, you destroyed my ship, Thunder Bunny, but you won't destroy me. Soon your powers will be mine. The end, of course. Now there is one other story in this. There were 2 stories in this book. So, hey, hang tight. We're going to get through this one really quick, though. So in this one, you know, the town, the city, they've accepted that there is a super rabbit flying around. So the police and like the mayor and all of them, they're starting to accept, and they're like, hey, you know, so they have this thing they want to use, but there's of course a detective that's kind of like, oh, this rabbit, whatever, this rabbit. But they created a bunny signal, and right here you see him say, I love it, the bunny signal, ha 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 ha. This one is called Sound Wars, Part 1. And so, anyway, the artwork in the second story, I will say, is better than the first one. I think the first one was a reprint from a different run of Thunder Bunny, and so this story, I believe, is a newer story because it does say on the front they have a new publisher. So I'm just giving you some information. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with being scary. I mean, we can still review this book or analyze it a little bit as a book, you know, minus the scary, just a book. So the Thunder Bunny comes, they say, hey, Dr. Fogg has this demands, he wants gems and he wants this other guy to be released because somehow Dr. Fogg is turning the power off in the city, and he says he's going to turn the power off forever if they don't go through this, but it's supposed to be Thunder Bunny has to deliver the ex-convict and the gems to Dr. Fogg. And so there they go. They're going to deliver them, and he says the whole deal is nuts, but the only way the mayor will go along with it is if you'll deliver. He figures a superhero gives us an edge. They go along with it. They go to the ship. They get on this plane and they're flying, and but then there's this loud noise, and the plane is going out of control. And Thunder Bunny and the convict are inside, but and of course it explodes all of a sudden, and you think, uh-oh, Thunder Bunny and that convict were inside. What happened to them? But no, they didn't die. They did make it out. And now he's like, hey, he tried to kill you, he tried to kill me. You better tell me where Dr. Fogg's hideout is, right? And so the guy does. So they fly, they find the hideout, and they're fighting, of course. They're shooting at him, because Thunder Bunny is basically pretty much indestructible. And Dr. Fogg is like, okay, so we're zipping through this, I know, but you get the idea. I would rather you go out and find these on your own if you want to read them. To me, this isn't really scary. I'm trying to find something scary there. I think the only scary thing was at the beginning with Snake-a. Dr. Fogg is not too scary, the name, but I'm not seeing anything scary in here. But we're going to review it because, again, the Grim Picker made the choice, and I'm not going to undo that. But you find out that the whole plot there was just to lure Thunder Bunny so that he could kill him and the convict, because the convict knew where his hideout was. So it's a very simple plot, very basic plot. I mean, the book is called Thunder Bunny. So the plots are not like super intense and involved. But again, if you want to read something fun and you're looking for just a superhero comic that is not like all the rest, I would say, you know what I mean, like the X-Men or Spider-Man, something, this one is more of a fun story, but it still kind of takes it seriously, but it's just a completely different take. It's a Thunder Bunny. I think the name is clever, to be honest. It's a fun name. The fact that he's this big, giant, muscular guy, but he has this sort of cutesy rabbit face about him. It's kind of humorous. Like here in this panel you see, I mean, look at his face. It's more of a comical kind of, like a Bugs Bunny type of face, rather than, you know, you would think a real rabbit's face. So I thought that's kind of interesting. And even here on the last panel, we get right there. Look, now there's the last panel. Maybe, my guess is maybe the Grim Picker, this is just a theory, because let me show you this first. Look at the last panel on this page of the book. That is a very scared looking rabbit face, right? He's very scared. No, that bottle broke and I didn't hear. Fogg's sound device has deafened me. To be continued. Look how scared the rabbit's face is. He's very scared. I'm thinking maybe, this is just an idea, that the Grim Picker was in a bit of a rush. Maybe he was running out the door and he realized that he had not chosen a book of scary stories for us to review, and you know, he was quickly thumbing around through different books, and he saw maybe this panel and said, ooh, that is very scary, and he just grabbed it and ran. But as I said, the decision of the Grim Picker must not be undone, and so it has not been. We reviewed this book of stories that were scary in the sense that it wasn't scary, but we thought it might be scary. So Thunder Bunny, we got it. We did it. We reviewed that. So now this is going to be fun though, because we're going to turn it over to the Demon Baby now and see what her rating would be for a book like this. I'm not expecting a whole lot. All right, so now that the Demon Baby is aware, we can get the official rating for this, I will say, scary book. We'd have to say scary. I know this is the Thunder Bunny, but I'm just I'm going to say, because I'm trying to be consistent, the scary book. So go ahead, Demon Baby. Give us the official rating that you would like to give. That looks like only half a head spin to me. And wait a minute. Now she's doing a full head spin all the way back around. So I guess you might call that a negative half a head spin. So yes, it's the opposite direction of scary. So Demon Baby is obviously not intimidated by the Grim Picker, and she's going to tell us this is not a scary book. So thank you, Demon Baby, for pointing out the elephant in the room. Okay. Anyway, I just have to say, yeah, it was a very interesting choice. But either way, hopefully we had some fun going over it. I feel like I should fill in some time here. I think we might have gone through that rather quickly, but that's okay. We just end a little early. You can get a good night's sleep tonight, and you wake up the next day or whenever, and just feel more refreshed because you weren't scared all night having nightmares. Oh, with the scary stories we tried to review here. Anyway, I was thinking I should tell a joke or something. I'm trying to think of one. I think I told you about the vampire joke, I take my steak with the steak restaurant. I take my steak, yeah, you can cook it anyway, just as long as it's not through the heart. Anyway, you have to go back and find out. I'm not going to retell that joke. Well, what's the one beer that a werewolf would never drink? Yeah, a beer that the werewolf is not going to drink. Coors Light, okay? AKA the silver bullet, right? It's known as Coors Light is known as the silver bullet because it comes in that silver can. Anyway, I'll try to come up with some better jokes next time. But either way, thank you so much for tuning in to the Scary Stories Reviews. So it's been a real scary time. Hopefully you're feeling, well, I was going to say hopefully you're not too frightened, but if you're frightened by this, then you probably don't want to watch anything else that I have to share with you, because hopefully that is going to be the tamest thing we ever have on these videos, okay? I promise, hopefully. Well, it is the Grim Picker though. And as I warned you, we cannot undo the decision of the Grim Picker. But I may have to have a little discussion with him before the next time. All right, if you liked the video, please subscribe. You can hit the like. Hit the like anyway. Don't even, just hit it anyway, whether it was scary or not. Right? Okay, with that, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go away. And yes, I'm going to try to talk to let me see if I can get some scary mood here. Here we go. Let's try this. This might help to end it on the right note. Yes, there we go. All right, thank you for tuning in. Until the next time, stay scary.